Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome into another edition of the Big Man on Campus Sports Betting Podcast. I'm your host, the Big Man on Campus, getting you ready for a Tuesday in sports. Got some baseball to go over. Also have an NBA game to go over. We have the Bucks and Raptors game 4 coming at you up in Toronto, 2-1 Bucks. We'll go through that game as well. We'll have a little fun later. We'll go over some topics. Just try to have some fun here on a Tuesday. A beautiful, beautiful day out. I'm not one of these people that normally comments on weather just because everybody fucking does. But I got to tell you, what a fucking great day out, man. It's like 68, 70. It's not beat sun, but it's like, sunny in and out. Just a really nice day. Get the faintest little breeze where like it's not too hot, it's not cold. You need like a light, little, overcoat to go out. Not in a coat, but like a jacket. You don't want to catch a cold, but just a beautiful day. If I could have weather like this, maybe a little cooler all year round, like I think the best temperature is like 59 to 64, something like that, where it's a little cool, that early fall. But great day out. It's hard to not be happy about today's weather. But welcome in. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are. And we're going to get after it today. So do me a favor, hit the like button and retweet the show on Twitter. That is very helpful if you can do that for me. Terrell, Marco, Pimpster, Artez, Adam, all the people out there watching the show. You can always communicate with us on the chat. It looks like your migraine is gone. Yeah, it was getting close to ending last night, but I'd still get those occasional, kind of pains or whatever. But as I started kind of working my mind, the capitals of countries, I started having some fun, and it ended up working out. So we'll do that a little bit later, maybe. I'll give out my premium play if you can stump me. Do not send it in now. We'll do that later. We'll start out with some baseball first. But before we do that, do want to hit last night's game. Golden State sweeps Portland. Look, I don't think anybody's surprised by that. Look, Portland just couldn't defend. I mean, it was that simple. They couldn't keep a lead. Damian Lillard for most of the series was MIA. It was just it was ugly. Portland is out. See you later. And Golden State goes to their 17th straight NBA Finals, which I got to tell you, I'm actually quite excited this year about Golden State. It's not that it's kind of like a little bit more of a blue collar team. You don't got the Kevin Durant angle right now. I kind of like them without Kevin Durant, to be honest. Look, I'm not a Steph Curry guy. I've made that very clear many times. I do think he's an overrated overall basketball player. But, again, watching guys like Draymond Green who, look, I don't think it's a secret. A lot of people don't like Draymond Green. I've said my things with Draymond Green, but I don't think anyone can discount how hard he plays. I mean, the guy loves the game. He plays hard. He's a great defender. Klay Thompson, great defender. Iguodala, all these guys. They're not that hard to root for. I guess the Kevin Durant angle just kind of makes them hateable, But definitely it'll be nice to see them play the Bucks. I'd love to see that series, and I really hope we get it. And we'll get to that one in just a little bit. As I said, thanks for joining me here today. Rocking the old Miss gear. I think for a lot of people just assume I like Ole Miss because I'm wearing an Ole Miss shirt. I really just like the color. That's really kind of my thing with it. I kind of like the red and the blue makeup. You don't normally see the powder blue. So I was a big fan of the Phillies jerseys back in the day, the powder blue. So I like the little homage. Plus, I'm a long sleeve shirt kind of guy. Always have been, always will be. Whether I'm 180 pounds or 300 pounds, I'm a long sleeve shirt guy. I don't care if it's summer. I don't care. I don't like, for whatever reason, I just don't like, kind of being, I don't know. I just don't like it. I like long sleeves. I like, whether it's whatever. I just like the long sleeves, which I don't know if there's people out there like that, but I love the long sleeve kind of a t-shirt, in any rate. But I'm not going to get into my fashions here. Again, I dress a lot different on this show than I would if I go out. And, here you just kind of, do your thing. You have some fun. Big man, your boy Mike Minor did it again last night. Yeah, he did. Shut out the Mariners, which, again, that was my free play. Can't win them all. I'll still stand by the play. Mike Minor will get teed up on soon. It's just a question of when. But yeah, pitched very well last night. Definitely got to give him the credit. All right, guys, let's get into some baseball here. We'll start out with the Philadelphia Phillies. Game 2 out in Chicago against the Cubs. Philly's a small underdog here. Zach Eflin against Jose Quintana. All right. One thing about lefties against Eflin, they've had some success, but most of the Cubs' big bats are right-handed, which is obviously good news here. Eflin's been very good. You look at a lot of his particulars. One thing you love to see with pitchers, particularly young pitchers, first pitch strikes. Look, it's you don't need to be a mathematician to understand that if you're getting ahead of hitters with an 0-1 count, your likelihood of getting them out is a lot better. Zach Eflin's throwing a strike on 70% of his pitches. That's a lot of the reason for his success. It's probably not going to be sustainable the way he's pitching. A lot of people have commented on the fact that his true ERA is probably into the high fours or mid fours. It's not likely to continue to pitch like that. His hard hit rate and all that kind of stuff is a bit lucky. But you look at his strikeout numbers. They're good. They're not great. But he's not walking guys. You look at his ERA, 2.89. His xFIP, which is kind of his true ERA, 4.44. So obviously you're expecting regression. Here's the thing about statistics and sabermetrics and a lot of this stuff. Sometimes guys just have good seasons. And you look at Kyle Hendricks a few years ago, great season, won a Cy Young. You look at last year, Wade LeBlanc. I mean, how fucking long do we hear that sabermetrics, he's going to even out, he's going to regress? You look at Mike Minor this year. He's going to regress. He's going to regress. He hasn't regressed. Sometimes guys just have good seasons. Zach Eflin having a very good season right now. So you have to expect for him tonight, he has another good series here. You look at the Phillies, nice win last night. One thing you like about the Phillies is they're finding ways to come back in games. They're not out of games just because they go down a run or two. And obviously with past teams, that's obviously been an issue. But look, the Phillies are much better this year. They have a guy in Real Muto who's probably the best catcher in baseball. Gene Segura is, to me, the most underappreciated player in the majors. He continues to have a great season. Obviously, guys like Bryce Harper haven't necessarily been involved, but other guys are stepping up. Guys that are just good players, good solid MLB players. This Phillies team kind of on a roll right now. They won 4 in a row. Nice, again, come from behind win last night. They've been actually profitable on the road. They're not great on the road, but they've been profitable. And this Cubs team right now, you don't love the matchup here. Quintana's been good at home, but do you ever really trust Quintana? He's probably the most average pitcher in baseball. He does, have the success at home, but look, the total's a bit too low. I think with the fact that Eflin's pitched well, obviously the lineup, Cubs not really dominant from a left-handed perspective. A lot of their big bats are righties, so I expect Eflin to have some success here. Definitely kind of like the Phillies in this spot. I think right now they're just playing some good baseball. I'm not saying the Cubs aren't. I mean, up until last night, the Cubs have been playing very well. But right now they're kind of, inconsistent. Win-loss, 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 at least over the last week or so. I'm willing to think that as an underdog here, the Phillies, again, are kind of worth it. You look at the bullpens here. Philly with a small advantage as well there. I think they're worth a shot here as an underdog. Best play on the board? No. But definitely worth kind of a small look probably. Dodgers and Rays, another interesting game here. Kershaw against Hunter Wood. Hunter Wood going for the Tim Lincecum look. Obviously a smaller guy, diminutive, has the hair, puts all of his body into the pitches. Durability probably long term, it's not going to work for him. But right now, he's okay. The thing that you love about the Tampa Bay Rays is it doesn't really matter, though, who pitches for them. As long as they can get 2 innings out of someone, they're going to go to a guy like Jalen Beeks for 4 or 5 innings, and then they're going to go to that bullpen. As we know, Tampa Bay, always a good under ballpark, one of the most profitable under ballparks in the league, really. And you look at Kershaw going tonight. Kershaw, when it comes to this Tampa Bay lineup, those batters, 10 for 50 career against Kershaw. That's a 200 average, not good. Kershaw obviously has success. It's not been a banner year for Kershaw. Kershaw's just been good. He's not been great. Look, is he one of the best pitchers ever? Sure. But, it isn't out of the question. He hasn't been that good this year. But you look at the Dodgers lineup, you look at what they can bring. Both bullpens very good. I think at this 8 number, I'm looking under the number. Anytime I get a Tampa Bay game at 8 or higher, I'm buying. It's just that simple. They're 24 and 18 overall to the under. And you look at just kind of some of the trends here. They just kind of point to a low-scoring game. Obviously, these lineups are tough, though. I will give them that. These are 2 lineups that can break out at any time. It's not like this is Cincinnati and the Giants. I mean, these are 2 lineups that are good. I mean, they're both plenty of big boppers. Look, right now with Cody Bellinger in a lineup, it's hard to take an under. Cody Bellinger seemingly blowing up unders very quickly. Did it the other day for me. And look, I'm going to obviously talk about the under I had. I talked about it before. I had the under Sunday. It was the right play. It's just a bad beat. What can you do? But I think on paper, this looks like a solid under. This looks to me like a 4-2 type of game. You just obviously you got to hope that Hunter Wood and this bullpen have typically a very good game. Again, with baseball betting, you're always hoping for things, and that's sports betting in general. But I think if you get what you think will happen here, I don't think we see a ton of offense in this game. I think the Rays have shown all year that they've been a very good staff. And again, you look at the Dodgers; they have as well. You also look at Tampa. The Dodgers this year. I'm not telling the Dodgers. You look at Tampa, continue to kind of bank off that under stuff. You look at against left-handers this year. Tampa Bay 11-2 to the under. They've just had not much. I mean, they're a profitable team against lefties because their pitching's been so good. But from an at-bat perspective, they don't hit lefties. And I mentioned Kershaw's continued very good career numbers against this current lineup. At 8, I'm willing to buy on an under here. I feel like at this number, it's just kind of something I would do automatically. A couple comments here. Ayusha, thanks for watching. Lance, Adam, Joe, Simone, BMC, Mike Butler, Adam. Thanks to all of you guys for checking out the show. If you guys can retweet the show on Twitter, I'd greatly appreciate it. A lot of people did that. Cesar, Michael, Gunston, Nicholas, MCA, Travis, Kenny, a lot of guys. Thanks for watching the show. All of you loyal people, I do appreciate it. We will get to some NBA in just a little bit. We'll get to some college hoop stuff. We'll get to some all sorts of things. And you'll have your chance to get my premium play tonight. Kazi, what's up? Stack Guap, what's up? Stack Guap, always a good name. I like that name. Stack Guap, I like that one. Let's get to some other games here. I considered the over in the Twins and Angels game. Look, right now, I just don't have a lot of trust that either of these starters can get the opposing lineup out. You look at Trevor Cahill. He leads the league in home runs given up. You look at his predecessor, his opposing pitcher, Michael Pineda. Michael Pineda is second in home runs given up, 13. So both these pitchers combined have given up 27 home runs this year. That's a lot of dingers. You also look at Cahill. He has mightily struggled against left-handed hitting this year. You look at the Twins, definitely a great lineup, plenty of home runs out of this group. And as I said, lefties killing Cahill. You look at left-handers. Left-handers hitting 350 this year against Trevor Cahill. Just ugly numbers. You also look at home, Cahill's really had problems. Opponents are at 315 against Cahill at home. You look at some of the big bats in the lineup for the Twins: Kepler, Rosario. Who else do we have here? Adrianza, Jorge Polanco. All these guys left-handed. They can hit lefties. Jason Castro, the catcher's a lefty. You get plenty of lefties in this lineup to tee off on Cahill. This number's, I think, fair, 9. I think that's a pretty fair number here. You just got to kind of hope you get – but then again, you look at this number and you kind of say to yourself, why don't you just take the first half over? Just because I got to tell you, I don't think you're going to get a ton out of these bullpens. And that's kind of my overall concern as to why I didn't play this one. I'm concerned with if these bullpens just shut down, because these bullpens are actually pretty good, both these groups. And that's kind of the one major concern. I could definitely see this game, 4-2, 5-2, something like that. I think over 5 in the first half's worth maybe a look, especially if you can get the 110. I know there's a few books out there with 110. These starters have had issues. Angels, you're definitely getting this group at a good time right now. They're hitting the baseball. So that's one I considered. Full game, I'm usually a full game total kind of guy. Not the bullpens I love. But there were just some things that kind of kept me off this one. But definitely one I had my eye on. Tommy Milone's pitching tonight. First game for Tommy Milone this year. Look, I've talked in the past about Tommy Milone. I don't think he's a major league pitcher anymore. Look, I don't know if he ever was. But Eric Swanson's been so horrific that you got to pick him up to come up here. Tommy Milone's not had a good career. You look at his career numbers, they're not good. You look at last year, opponents at 330 off Tommy Milone when he's at Washington. Tommy Milone's bounced around. He pitched at Washington, pitched at Minnesota, pitched at Oakland. He's been around. And he's, for the most part, not had a very good career. He constantly has issues with base runners. He's had some good numbers down at AAA Tacoma, but again, this is not AAA. This is the big leagues. So, again, I don't have a lot of belief that Tommy Milone is someone that I would want to get behind tonight. Again, like I said, last year, in 2017, opponents hit 317 against Milone. Last year, he was even worse. This is not exactly the lineup you want to face when you're coming into your first game back to the majors. Look, could Tommy Milone mystify someone? Maybe, but it's unlikely. Tommy Milone stinks. It's that simple. Lance Lynn does as well. That's one of the reasons this total is 11.5. You're putting out a total basically that you would only see in Coors basically. But you look at Arlington weather today, 83 degrees. You look at sunny skies. Wind is blowing out. Okay, so the ball's going to be flying today. It's that simple. You look at the wind, 10 to 15 miles an hour blowing out. If you gave me a play in this game, I'd go over the number. There should be runs in this game. Both bullpens stink. This should be a fun game. 7-6, 8-5, something like that. I would expect we see plenty of runs in this game. Quick overview as well. We'll go through one or two more here. What else do we have? Herman Hess, obviously a big number there. I got to tell you, I kind of like the under in that game, the Herman Hess game. Herman's been a lead. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Baltimore scores 1 or 2 runs in this game. You just got to hope the Yankees are kind of kept at bay. But I think that's maybe worth it. Hess hasn't been horrible. So I think under 9.5 has some legs there. I backed the under the other day in the Yankees or I backed the Rays against the Yankees the other day. Yankees are a tough team. Obviously tough to hit. Good rotation. A great bullpen. Under 9.5, I think, has some value in that one. What else do we have here? I considered Milwaukee first 5 against Cincinnati. Problem that I have with Cincinnati is Gio Gonzalez has some bad numbers against a few different Reds. Joey Votto's hurt him. Eugenio Suarez has hurt him. So, that's kind of one. And you look at Cincinnati this year, guys, something to keep in mind. From a first 5 inning perspective, Cincinnati's second in the league in fewest runs allowed. They don't allow a lot in the first 5. So you're definitely one to kind of keep your eye on there. But I have one play tonight that I really like. I think from a perspective of line movement, it makes a ton of sense. I like the way this team's bullpen is pitched. I just like a lot of things with this group tonight that I'm on. So you can find out in a little bit how to get that play. Look, if you want my baseball, you can contact me, bmocsports@gmail.com. I have a small group of guys that I send picks to. I don't advertise. I'm not, during baseball, I really look at baseball. I make money off baseball. And my best plays I send to those people. They respect the work. They pay for the work. I do a lot of work kind of off the radar. And they're getting a lot of stuff that other people aren't getting. The NFL draft props that I went 6-0 on, they got. A lot of people, those guys are getting the stuff that a lot of people won't get. NBA draft, that will go to them. So a lot of people, you're getting things from that you're not normally going to get. And, those people are obviously loyal people, and they enjoy supporting me. Any thoughts on Rockies Pirates? Yeah, not really. I've liked that Pirates team a lot. I think their lineup's actually pretty underrated. I just don't know what to expect out of Chris Archer. And German Marquez has actually been one of the better road pitchers in the MLB this year. So I don't have much on that one. I like the Pirates long term. I think their bullpen's awesome. And certain guys with that group are bet-on pitchers. Like Jordan Lyles is a bet-on pitcher right now for me. He is terrific. One other one, just kind of gloss over. Smith going tonight for the Marlins. Again, we're getting a good spot against Detroit. Detroit is not a good baseball team. But, the sucky thing about the Marlins is, you're not getting any value here. If I'm going to take the Marlins, I'm not really looking to coin flip or lay a little bit on. I want to get plus money back. I feel like with this game, I wouldn't be against maybe like if you can kind of flip it, like certain books allow you to play the reverse run lines and things like that. I don't hate that here, honestly. I could see the Marlins with a pretty solid victory tonight. And I know that doesn't happen often, but you're getting a good pitcher here. It is a toss-up kind of game. Look, I feel like if you bet the Marlins, you always want to get something back on them, frankly. But, like for instance, on one book, 5 dimes, you can flip the money line and run line. So like in the Marlins game, where is that fucking game? There it is. You could take the Marlins minus a half in the first half, plus 130. So like that's something I wouldn't mind doing. I'd really like this Smith. He's been a good pitcher. So that's something to think about as well. But free plays tonight in the MLB. I'm going to go with the under in the Rays and Dodgers game at 8. And what was the other one I liked? I'll go under 9.5 in that Yankees-Orioles game. Definitely think that I think that both pitching staffs will kind of keep each other at bay in that one. What else do we have? Caleb or Carson Smith? I still don't know, to be honest. I just call him C. Smith. Look, I'm very good with personnel. I don't think there's anyone in sports betting that knows more about personnel than me. But for whatever reason, I always forget that kid's first name. And I want to say there was a Carson Smith at one point in the major leagues. So, be that for what it is. I think he pitched for the Red Sox at one point. Yeah, he's in the Red Sox organization. I think he pitched at Seattle at one point. He's out for the year, I want to say. So there is a Carson Smith, but this kid, I believe, is Caleb, the one that pitches for the MLB for the Marlins. So there you go. I guess I just always think Carson Red Sox. So there you go. All right. What's up, Dennis, Leroy, Brian S., Funny B, Josh, J. Yim, Lance, welcome in. A couple comments here. Please hit the like button. Exactly. Thank you. Cardinals postponed. Anyone confirm? I believe it is postponed. What about the first 5 under in Brewers game? Yeah, I guess gun in my head, I'd take that. But like I said, I mean, the Brewers have, a pretty good lineup. And this lineup for the Reds hits Gio actually pretty well. So that's one I would kind of stay away from. Did I talk about the NBA game? No, I did not. I'm about to. Stick around for NBA. I'll also give any of you a chance to get my premium play tonight. We'll go over NBA. I did want to hit one thing very quickly. A lot of people like soccer on this stream right now. I did want to just talk quickly about the Europa League. Arsenal against Chelsea. Obviously, we have two Europa. Not Europa, but you have two finals where you have two England teams in both. And Henrik Mkhitaryan, the Arsenal, one of the Arsenal players, won't play in the game after he was basically fearful for his life to go to Azerbaijan. Now, for anyone that's not aware, Europa League is a battle of Europe. It's not a battle of Asia. And for whatever reason, we have a final, not only in Azerbaijan, which is a fairly, look, again, I know you're trying to grow the borders of soccer. You're trying to put it everywhere. But look, whether you have that final in Azerbaijan or not, they're going to watch it. They're going to support it. First of all, Azerbaijan is in Asia. I know they are credited to being in Europe, but 90% of the country is actually in Asia. Which is wild. I know a lot of people also think that Russia's in Europe. Most of Russia's landmass is in Asia. We need to start border-wise with putting countries where they are at. I mean, we're not going to put Italy in South America. I mean, it's not in South America. It's in fucking Europe. I mean, I know that technically it's Europe, but when we really get down to brass tacks, Azerbaijan is in Asia. So there's one thing. I'm not sure why also we're having a final in Baku, to be honest. Look, Baku is a beautiful city. Azerbaijan's a beautiful country. And if you want to go to a country that's beautiful in Asia, I would go to Azerbaijan. Very nice, very clean from what I've heard. But Mkhitaryan basically won't play in the game due to issues with him being Armenian. For anyone that doesn't know, Armenia and Azerbaijan do not get along politically, and he is fearful that something will happen to him. Look, we've seen this in world football. I've seen it in my own nation with Albania and Serbia. We see it with Ukraine and Russia. There's all sorts of issues with countries. But again, I'm not sure, like 6 months ago when Arsenal played Karabag, which is in Azerbaijan, there was obviously an issue then because Mkhitaryan didn't play. Like, it's just an odd choice. It doesn't make any sense. It's far away, first of all. It's way far from England. It's way far from most of the teams involved in the competition are nowhere near Azerbaijan. It's huge. It's hugely out of convenience for the fan bases. And again, there are certain players in these teams that aren't able to go to these countries. And it's kind of a shame, really. But I don't understand this. I don't understand why you're putting the Europa League final. Again, this is not like a pool game or like a qualifier. This is a fucking European Cup game final. What do you? I don't understand. And at any rate, if you're from London, you cannot get a direct flight to Baku. You have to travel. It's ridiculous. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. UEFA is the most inept organization on earth. I mean, the NCAA is bad, but as far as governing bodies, UEFA is completely lost it. Completely lost it. If I was an Arsenal or Chelsea fan, I'd be livid. And if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be particularly livid at the decision to do this. The UEFA does some weird things. Like, again, a few years ago, putting Albania and Serbia in the same group. What the fuck did you expect to happen? Uprising, issues. These countries don't like each other, dating back to fucking hundreds of years ago. Just lame. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. So that's my rant for today. Let's get into the NBA. I want to start with the Bucks and the Raptors. When I'm going to end with the Bucks and Raptors because there's really nowhere else to go. So I'm not sure why I'm going to start there. We got the Bucks laying 3 in this game, total 217.5. All right. Look, it's hard to play worse than most of the Bucks played in game 2. I'm sorry, game 3. My fault. And look, they were still right there at the end. The game goes to overtime, and the Raptors end up finding a way to pull away late. But Giannis was non-existent mostly from an offensive perspective. Mirotic gave you nothing. Middleton was completely lost. Eric Bledsoe didn't do anything. Without Brogdon and Hill, where would they have been? The bench outside of Hill and Brogdon didn't give you anything. So, again, this is a situation, I think, for Toronto where you have to be a little worried. You look at off a loss this year, the Bucks are 22-1 straight up in the next game. You look at against the spread, they're 19-4 against the number off a loss this year. Those numbers speak for themselves. However, I look at this game and I say to myself, I first of all look at it from an NBA perspective. I'm not a conspiracy theorist a lot of the time, but I do want to say that I do think that obviously it'd be very hurtful for the NBA for this to go 3-1 because, look, 9 times out of 10, the next game, it's going to be 4-1, and that's going to be that. Look, you're getting a Toronto team at home here that has shown all season they're very good at home. Look, you can make the case whether you like a Antetokounmpo or Kawhi more. They have the best player in the court. Defensively, they're very good. I think in this game, for me, if I played it, I'd look under the number, a 217.5. Look, I know that last 2 games have went over and the first one went under, but you look at game 3, had no business going over. Went to 2 overtimes. It was going to go over, but it only went over by about 10 points. It wasn't overly, didn't get it to 250 or something. It wasn't 128, 125. I think defensively, Toronto's really good, very good, frankly. And look, if they play that way again, this game will be in the 90s. I just think with both these teams, I know that Milwaukee can really get going from 3, and in large parts they've been an extremely good offensive team all year. But I'm willing to think that again, Toronto defensively is good enough. I think they're a remarkable defense team. They're one of the better defense teams I've seen in some time at this level in the NBA. We know this league is not, prototypically a great defensive league, but I think Toronto passes the test from that standpoint. And you look at the Bucks, again, they're not shooting the ball from 3 well in this series. I mean, you look at game 3, another poor shooting night, 14 for 44 from 3. The game before, what were they, 11 for 44? They're not shooting the ball particularly well. I'm willing to think that, again, this game ain't going to go to double overtime. And, we get a game, maybe 105, 102, 102, 98, something like that. It's a tough line. Again, with the Bucks being so good off a loss, got to lean Bucks. But I'm not running to the window to lay 150 in a fucking playoff game. Especially on the road. Look, I hear guys that calling it, like I was listening to Barstool Radio today. Some kid calls in and goes, I'm so-and-so, parlay, whatever his name is. I love the Bucks tonight. They're gonna roll. Then he goes, take them on the money line. What do you mean they're gonna roll, but you want them on the money line? Which is it? Are they gonna win or are they gonna roll? What do you mean that you love them? You love them, but you want to take them on the money line. I'm not sure why no one spoke up. If I was on the radio, I would have spoke up and said, come on, cuz. Either you love them or you don't. You love them, but you're going to lay 150 on them. If you're confident, just lay the number. Some of these people I don't understand. But, neither here or may, I'm going to take the under in this game. I'm going to go under 217.5. I'm going to stay with defensively, believing that both these teams are really good. And again, the Bucks have not shot the ball well in this series. So I'm going to go under 217.5 in this one. Couple comments here. What's up, Hal? Thanks for watching. Big man, which NFL coach gets fired first? Shermer, Rivera, Tomlin, Marone. Name your coach. That's a tough question. I have no idea. I don't. I mean, and I hate to be, kind of vague, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know what. I don't know what the league's going to. I don't know what's going to shake out. You look at some of the bad teams. Obviously, the Giants. I don't think they're going to let Shermer go quickly. I just don't see that. I guess I'd have to think about it. I mean, the Bucks just got a new coach. Redskins. I don't see them going. I guess I'd have to think about that, to be real honest with you. I'd have to look over that. But a lot of these teams, they kind of, you look at the Arizona Cardinals. I don't think they're not going to fire anyone, though. They did fire Steve Wilkes, but I think Cliff Kingsbury is kind of on another level. I'll just go through them quickly. New England, no. Dallas, Dallas maybe. I could see that, but Jason Garrett's a puppet. Eagles, no. Oakland, no, because they're kind of in bed with their coach already. Green Bay, they just fired their coach. Seattle, no. Pittsburgh, maybe. I could see Pittsburgh. I mean, if Mike Tomlin doesn't do anything this year again, I think you have to start looking at maybe Mike Tomlin getting moved on from. I like Mike Tomlin. I've always been a fan of his, but then again, you have to start to win things. And it's been a while since they won anything. Cleveland, no. San Francisco, no. Giants, I don't see it. The Bears, no. Chiefs, no. Denver, no. Minnesota. I mean, at some point, Minnesota, they haven't won much. What point do they look elsewhere? I don't think they will, because Mike Zimmer's a pretty good coach. But eventually, you got to win places. Jets, they just kind of moved on from a coach. You got a new one. Washington, don't see that. New Orleans, no. Miami, no. Buffalo, no. Rams, definitely no. Arizona, definitely no. Baltimore, no. Detroit, they just moved on from their coach. Indy, they just got a new coach. They're not going to move on from Reich. He was terrific. Carolina, I could see Ron Rivera. That would probably be my choice. Eventually, again, with Carolina, you got to start winning, and they haven't won anything either. Atlanta, no. Houston, no. Chargers, no. Cincy, they just moved on. Tennessee, no, they just got a new coach. Yeah, I don't really see anyone outside of Carolina or Pittsburgh. I could see Pittsburgh for sure. Now, I don't know if they're the first team, but yeah, I mean, I guess I could say that. And there's Teddy B, the shithead that he is. Again, Teddy, why don't you let us know what does Minnesota want? Like, let us know. I'll wait for your response, because it shouldn't take you too long. Because again, they don't win anything. In your lifetime, what have they won? So again, I'll wait for your response. Because, again, it's not much. And don't give me they were 13-2 or whatever. I don't care about regular seasons. What have they won in the playoffs? What have they won in the playoffs? I don't care that you make the playoffs. What does that matter? Eventually, you got to win, dude. And they don't. They haven't won under this regime. They've not won. I get you like fucking the Vikings and you love the team, but eventually we have to stop being objective because we like a team. Look, I didn't like Andy Reid because he didn't win. He didn't get to the Super Bowl and win. So eventually we had to move on from Andy Reid. We have to stop being so obtuse with certain things. And fans are the most obtuse people on earth. I could literally say, like, if guys are fans of teams, you could literally say, hey, their coach went out and murdered somebody. That doesn't matter. Keep them. We have to stop being obtuse as fans. And that's why, for me, with most sports, I'm not a particular fan of a team. I have certain sports that I love. I love the Philadelphia Eagles. I grew up on them. I love the Sixers. I grew up on them. But I'm not going to lie. I didn't grow up in hockey. Baseball. I have my Yankee fandom because I grew up around. My grandfather was a Yankee fan, and But again, if you said to me rank your favorite teams, would I rank the Yankees top two? No, I wouldn't. I don't have college teams really outside of Temple basketball, and the only reason I root for Temple basketball is because growing up, I love John Chaney, and my sister went there, and it's kind of my home team. I don't have a college football team. I don't really have. I'm not a big fan with a lot of these things, but if I am, I'm going to be straightforward and say, look, I don't like this person. I don't like this guy. I'm not just going to try to make up things and say, well, we get to the playoffs every year. I don't care about that. Did you go and win? Did you, kind of grow your fandom? Did you grow your team? Did they, become relevant? That's kind of the first thing. And then it's go and win now. And they have not won. It's that simple. Jar Jar, thanks for watching. Bob Money, thanks for watching. Hal, who was your favorite Yankee growing up? That's actually somebody asked me before. Oddly enough, my favorite two Yankees were Tino Martinez and El Duque, Orlando Hernandez. El Duque was I was a big fan of. I just liked his wind up and just I loved El Duque. And I remember the first baseball game I ever went to. He was the pitcher that day, and I remember I was like, it was 98, so I was 9, I believe, at the time. And I remember where I sat right behind. They're playing the Twins that day. I literally sat right behind the Twins dugout. I was the first row behind the dugout. My father took me. And I remember, like, my dad is not a big traveler. Like, he doesn't go on planes. My dad, unless he has to, my dad doesn't go on planes. The furthest we traveled as kids were driving distance. We would go to the shore or whatever. My dad doesn't travel. My mother does, but she would always take trips with my sister and stuff like that. So I remember at 9 years old, and my dad, when I was a kid, my dad was building a company. He was a hard worker. He did a lot. He ran companies. He was always working. So to get my dad to take me somewhere like that on a regular day was pretty wild. And I'll always remember this. This is one of the memories I always have with my dad. My dad is not a big sports fan. I've made that clear. My dad will watch it just because he knows that I like it and my brother likes it. But my father doesn't watch sports. I mean, he doesn't sit there and watch, like if the Super Bowl's on, I'll watch it. But he's not, like, he doesn't sit here at night like I do and watch these games. And he doesn't do that. My dad's, he loves to work. He likes stocks and, shit like that. When I was a kid, my dad would watch, like, the fucking History Channel and like, mob stuff. Like my dad and I watch a lot of mob stuff. We watch like documentaries and stuff. But him taking me to that game, I always remember because he didn't really like it, but he knew I did. And I remember that day, El Duque was pitching. And I asked my dad, I said, why does his leg come up that high? And he goes, I don't know. That's pretty, it's pretty random. But I remember El Duque would always throw the eephus pitch. He was just an interesting character. And I loved him. So he was my favorite Yankee. Tino Martinez was as well. I just loved, kind of the player that he was. And, I loved the name Tino. And, he was just kind of that Cuban guy that you wanted to root for. I love the Cuban players for some reason. El Duque and Tino. And I don't know. I don't really have reasoning on those guys. They're just guys that I remember. So they were my favorite Yankees. All right, guys, we got a lot of people still in here, and I thank you for watching. Here's what we're gonna do, guys. If you can stump me on a country capital, you will get my play tonight. So obviously, we saw yesterday nobody was able to really stump me. Here's the rule, though. If it's a territory or not a recognized country with a recognized capital, it doesn't count. So someone yesterday said St. Kitts and Nevis. Which, again, I understand that you think that St. Kitts is one nation, but Again, I don't know of the recognizable capital. Now, there might be one, but again, St. Kitts, up until the late 80s was just a colony that someone else owned. I don't believe they're a recognizable country. I might have to look that up. And again, if you're sure, I didn't know there was a recognized capital. So again, if you're giving me like some random island in the middle of the Pacific, look, whatever. We'll see what we can do. All right, let me just take care of some comments here. I was born in '89. Yes, I was. Philly is a college basketball city. Yes. Listen, I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, but I think Philadelphia is the best basketball city in America. It's that simple. And if you don't agree with me, then you just really don't know what you're talking about. All right. Yep, Teddy B going to continue to try to deflect and talk about his love for the Vikings, which I don't quite understand. Someone's asking what's the capital of Armenia. Yerevan, which is a country. Armenia is actually quite close to Azerbaijan, which we talked about a little earlier. Let's go back here. What else do we have? Benin. Benin. That's a country in West Africa. They speak French. I know it starts with a P. Porto. It's a port country. It faces. It's next to Togo, Benin, Porto Novo. Capital of Uzbekistan. Fuck. It's so fucking funny you asked me. I was actually just looking up. I was looking up all the stands: Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. I've bet on them in Asian Cup. Tashkent, I believe, is the capital of Uzbekistan. What else do we have here? Do I watch the James guy? No, I haven't been watching that. Luxembourg, we did that yesterday. That doesn't count. What else do we have here? Palau, we did yesterday. Guyana, Georgetown, I believe, is the capital of Guyana. Guyana is obviously in South America, and it is that one country where you have the capital as many people don't understand this, but people think that Georgetown is an actual city in America, which it's not. It's a part of Washington. So, be that for what it's meant. There is not actually a city in Washington, D.C. or near Washington, D.C. It's a part of Washington, D.C. The capital of Djibouti is Djibouti, which is you're trying to outsmart me there. Djibouti is a small country. It's a mostly Muslim country. I believe they speak French and Arabic there. But Djibouti is Djibouti. What else do we have here? What's the capital of Nauru? You're always trying to stump me on these really small, tiny islands. And Nauru is a tiny island. You're not going to find much in Nauru. In fact, Nauru actually kind of sounds like one of those places you would go in like space. Like they would be like a space place. Not sure how I know this, but the capital of Nauru is Yaran. But Yaran, Nauru, it sounds like a faraway space area. But for whatever, I actually know that. The capital of Croatia is Zagreb. And I know that because I'm kind of from that area. I'm not from Croatia, but I'm from that area. The Balkans, as we found out yesterday by Big Ragu's Montenegro question. Cameroon, well, that's the home of Joel Embiid, so I definitely know that. Yaounde, actually where Pascal Siakam is from as well. I'm sure I'm missing people. Here. The capital of Rwanda. Wow, that's a tough one. Let me think about this for a second. Rwanda is in Eastern Africa. It's just north of Burundi. Um, Listen, here's one thing about Rwanda that I know. They're getting their tourism numbers up. I know they are advertising with soccer clubs and things like that. It starts with a K. I'm going to say that. It's on the tip of my tongue, and I'm trying to remember. Uh, Kigali, something like that. Kigili, something like that. Kigali. And I'll tell you why I know that. I actually randomly the other night I was trying to like in my head because I have this friend of mine that he's a pretty smart guy. He's just has this lot of useless information and he knows a ton about geography. And last year at the shore, we were just I don't know, we were like eating out on this porch and like we were talking about Africa for some reason, like something with soccer. And he said to me, how many countries in a minute can you list in Africa? And I got to literally like almost the bottom. Like I got through almost all of them. And I did it alphabetically. So I did A, B, C, Angola, and I just went down. And I was researching just because I want to know. And I looked over a lot of these countries I've looked over recently. So I'm not skipping over anything. Listen, if you can do this, let me know. You can gladly call in, and I can do it right on I can gladly do it. But that's no surprise for me, Funny B. I mean, you're always trolling, so that's no surprise. Let me go back up and just do them on the spot. Laos, Vientiane is Laos. Laos is a country in Asia, very close to a lot of the major Asian nations. Suriname. Now, Suriname is a country not many people recognize. People don't know where Suriname is. A lot of people think it's in Africa. Suriname is actually in South America. It's close to Guyana, which we talked about earlier. It's near French Guiana, kind of just, kind of in the north. Suriname, Paramaribo. There you go. All right. I think we answered all the ones that we missed. Argentina, come on. Buenos Aires. Lesotho, interesting. Lesotho, a capital and country that is in England. A lot of people don't know where Lesotho is as well. Very small country, very interesting flag. They have a blue, green, and white flag. The capital of Lesotho is I always get Lesotho and Madagascar. Madagascar, Mozambique is Maputo, which is kind of like Masuru, which is the capital of Lesotho. Also, little known fact, Lesotho is a landlocked country, which means they have no oceans near them. Any updates on the Barstool front? Yes, I'm up there on June 3rd. Capital of Norway is Oslo. The capital of Georgia is Tbilisi. How much of your geography knowledge is based off of sports? Very little. We did Bhutan yesterday. Thank you, Demetrius. That's a very nice comment. The Solomon Islands. Let me figure out where that is. That's in the South Pacific. And a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of World War II was involved in the Solomon Islands. Honaira is the Solomon Islands. Reason I know that is because they're actually involved in the World Cup. A lot of the Oceania areas. All right, big man, give me a shout out. I haven't seen your live show in a while. Thank you for watching, Demetrius. SBR troll, lame. Are you saying you're the SPR troll, or what? Oh, Funny B. Yeah, yeah, he is in the SPR forums. That's right. That's right. Good point. That's what you're talking about. What's the capital of America? Uh, Washington D.C. You're trying to stump me on that. I'm actually quite good with U.S. capitals as well. Samoa Apia is an easy one. Luxembourg we already did. We did that yesterday. We need a landlocked play of the day. All right, you want a landlocked play of the day. So you just want a country that's landlocked that nobody knows. All right. Well, let's go to Africa. There's actually a lot of landlocked countries in Africa, being so big. Let's go to the great country of. Let's go to Malawi. We haven't been to Malawi. Actually, Malawi, it's not your typical landlocked country. There are some big lakes and stuff. I want to go completely landlocked, where there are no lakes or visible rivers. I guess we could go to Mali. Mali is a landlocked country. West Africa, bordered by Niger, Algeria, Mauritania, Burkina Faso, Guinea. They're landlocked. Senegal. By the way, the capital of Senegal is Dakar, if you're interested. All right. I don't think anyone is I don't think a lot of people are going to stump me. Thank you, Arthur. What's the capital of Comoros? Comoros. That's a tough one. Very cool flag as well, Comoros. It's actually a really funny capital, I want to say. Fuck. Off the capital of Africa, or off the country, it's off the continent of Africa. I'm getting my C's confused. So many C's. Comoros, capital, country, continent. Moroni, something like that. Moroni. I guess the locals would pronounce it Moroni. We would pronounce it Moroni. It's basically moron with an I at the end. Stack Guap is saying Bucks in a blowout, lay it and play it. I can't necessarily agree with that, just because I just don't. But hey, good luck. I will admit this is a tough one, and again, if we would include this, and the reason I'm not going to include this, whoever asked it, you will stump me on North Sentinel Island, but North Sentinel Island is not a country. North Sentinel Island is an island that's owned by India. So, and at any rate, North Sentinel Island is an uninhibited island, other than locals that have basically rejected and violently staved off anyone that comes near them. They're not recognized. You don't visit them. And the North Sentinel Island is basically in the Bay of Bengal and the Andaman Sea. It's way out, and they don't have a capital. So. You didn't really stump me, but just kind of teaching you. I'm not with Barstool. I may be. I interviewed with them. We'll see if it works out. What else do we have here? We'll do a few more. We're not going to do this all night. Tajikistan. Again, you guys are losing out on this because I basically just said that I looked up all the stands capitals. Tajikistan is Dushanbe, I believe. Dushanbe. Again, I know Tajikistan because I looked at all that up. What else do we have here? We'll do one or two more. Vietnam has an official capital and a people's capital. Name them both. Shit, man. Their capital is Hanoi, and their people's capital would be Ho Chi Minh City, I believe. So there you go. I'm the king. I'm the king, okay? Can't beat me in this game. What is the public on in the NBA tonight? Public's on the Bucks for sure. Okay, I got a good one. Moldova. Chisanu. Not really that good. Equatorial Guinea. That's a tough one. Equatorial Guinea. I'll tell you what, that might be the one that stumps me. The fucking last one of the night, basically. I don't know. Equatorial Guinea is in Africa. It's a very small country. In fact, it's different than the actual country Guinea. Bata, I would say. I think that's their largest city, so they expect it to be. Yeah, I might be wrong. It's either Bata or Malabo. I don't know exactly. So I think you may have stumped me on that one, but I don't think I'm too far off. It's one of those two. Yeah, Malabo. There you go. I don't. I knew it was one of those two, but can you explain what the news is about Enes Kanter? Yeah, I talked about that yesterday. You can watch the show yesterday. I talked about it. But all right, guys, we're out of here. You all have a nice night. Did have, I guess, if we consider Joseph the winner, even though out of like 30 people, he was. I guess he didn't get his question like on the dot, but I mean, it was close. I said two. I guess technically that's not the one. So whatever. I guess I'll make a case. So DM me and you can get on. Even though I don't think it's a true win. All right, I'm out of here. You all enjoy your night. Thanks for checking out the show and having some fun here tonight with me. I don't have any player props. I don't really play player props that much. I would get in touch with fantasy guys that do that kind of stuff. I'm more of a full game kind of guy. But yeah, for me, free plays will be the under in the Dodgers Rays game at 8 and under 9.5 Yankees and Baltimore. Everyone have a great day. We'll be back Wednesday when we do this one more time. Have a great night. Bye-bye.